All right, everyone, this is a follow-up to the original Panasonic G85 panning test I did. In this first clip here, you're just going to see a quick handheld pan, although I'd like to think my technique's gotten better. You still do have your natural body movements that halt it and are a little jerky. So, again, I did the test the same way I did previously. I used the Black Bolt panning head, and so it's going to go in basically a 90 and bounce back and forth for us here. That's what I used. Speed set to normal and fast. So up here first is I'm going to show you the new firmware, both normal and fast speed, and then do a compare and contrast between the original firmware and this one. One thing I want to say is this test is probably set up to be the most difficult. The reason I say that is in this fast-moving current, the autofocus, although I have it set on single point, the camera is having quite a few things to deal with between transitions from light to dark in the shadowed wooded area to the fast-moving current. It's really putting it through its paces. So here's the normal speed on that panning head, and followed up right now, we're going to see the fast speed. So in continuing this is moving pretty quickly. So I can tell you, I really was amazed with it. The G85 has been one of my favorite cameras I've used, and I even recently purchased the A6500 from Sony and still prefer the G85. You're really going to see the comparison between the new firmware, which they cranked out less than a month after the camera launched, and the old. So again, here's handheld with the new firmware. You're going to follow up here and see the old firmware, and I really didn't think it was that noticeable when I first got the camera, but looking at it now and comparing the footage of the new firmware versus the old, my goodness, I believe it's a night and day difference where you can see the jerkiness. And forgive me for not being able to tell what I was seeing before. I definitely thought it was more than good enough, and given the footage, it was great with all I had to deal with, but there have been significant improvements from Panasonic as soon as the issue was noticed. So that's one thing you can really appreciate Panasonic for, is their fast acting. They have quite a few things that they follow up with, and they take care of the consumer. So again, here's the normal speed on the original firmware, and we just saw a clip of it, but you notice it much more, especially in the tree line. You'll see it, and it's dealing with the fast current here and there too. A little different lighting between the 2 days I did this, but I can't go back in time and change the firmware, so we'll deal with that. But again, I did the new firmware sandwiched in the middle of the old firmware and then the new, so you can really compare and contrast and see the level of smoothness you get. To me, again, it's night and day, and I really appreciated the camera before they had this ironed out. So just the performance I'm getting out of it now has been beyond stellar. Super thankful for it, and super thankful for Panasonic. They've done nothing but create wonderful products and take care of the firmware and the small things we have to complain about, really. So when you think about the mirrorless system, especially the Micro Four Thirds, the performance we're getting out of these cameras being so small and compact is really incredible. And I'm looking forward. I have my pre-order set for the GH5, and I'll be getting that, and really looking forward to testing that in the same fashion I'm doing these, along with some lens reviews and the full camera reviews I'll have coming out in the next month. So stay tuned and keep watching. Thanks, everyone.
Go tell your friends.